Remember when Siri used to be the smart one? Now she's more of the awkward friend at the intelligence party. But that's about to change. Because Apple just made its biggest leap in artificial intelligence since the launch of the iPhone, partnering with OpenAI and Anthropic to supercharge Siri. This isn't just an upgrade, it's a brain transplant, one that puts Apple right in the middle of the intelligence race. Let's take a look at what's happening behind the scenes, what this means for your devices, and why Apple's new strategy could be its most important pivot in years. From voice assistant pioneer to intelligent underdog. Let's be honest, Siri hasn't aged well. When Apple launched Siri back in 2011, it felt like the future had finally arrived. You could talk to your phone and it would talk back. Magic. Siri was the first mainstream voice assistant to hit the market, and for a while that head start made it the face of voice tech. But fast forward a decade and the cracks are showing. Alexa and Google Assistant quickly caught up, and in many ways surpassed Siri. They expanded functionality, improved natural language understanding, and became smarter with every update. Then came the real disruptors: ChatGPT, Claude, and a wave of large language models that didn't just understand words, they understood context, nuance, intent. Meanwhile, Siri still struggles to set a timer if you phrase it the wrong way. So what happened? The issue isn't just that Siri fell behind, it's that it was never built to keep up in the first place. Siri runs on static commands. It was designed to recognize fixed phrases and execute simple tasks. Great in 2011, not so great in 2025. It can't hold a meaningful conversation. It doesn't grasp nuance. It gives robotic, canned responses. And perhaps most importantly, it doesn't learn. No matter how many times you repeat yourself, Siri remains cheerfully clueless. In an era powered by models that generate poetry, debug code, and summarize dense reports, Siri feels like a relic, a flip phone in a world of foldables, and Apple knows it. That's why a complete Siri makeover isn't just overdue, it's essential for survival. Apple's artificial intelligence master plan revealed. Enter Apple Intelligence, unveiled with great fanfare at WWDC 2024. This isn't just another incremental update or a shiny new feature tucked into settings. This is Apple's all-in, top-down reimagining of what artificial intelligence looks like across its entire ecosystem. Apple Intelligence isn't one single product. It's an umbrella, a whole suite of smart features baked into iOS, macOS, iPadOS, and perhaps most importantly, Siri. At the core of this initiative is something Apple hasn't exactly been known for: openness. Specifically, integrations with OpenAI's ChatGPT and Anthropic's Claude, two of the most advanced large language models on the market. Instead of going full Skynet and replacing Siri entirely, Apple is doing something a bit more nuanced and very on-brand, layering in these LLMs underneath Siri's existing interface to handle more complex language-heavy tasks. That means Siri still answers the basic stuff, like setting alarms or opening apps, but now it can tap into ChatGPT or Claude to go several levels deeper. Think: summarizing a 15-paragraph email into 2 crisp bullet points, drafting a reply in your voice and tone, explaining a dense PDF like it's talking to a 5th grader, or generating fresh ideas, images, or suggestions out of thin air. This marks the most radical redesign Siri has ever seen, not a facelift, a brain transplant. And the best part? This is just the beginning. Apple Intelligence is still rolling out, but one thing's already clear: Siri isn't just trying to keep up anymore, it's trying to matter again. Apple's hybrid artificial intelligence? One of the most fascinating and uniquely Apple parts of this overhaul, they didn't toss privacy out the window to chase intelligence. Instead, Apple's doing something no one else is quite pulling off: hybrid artificial intelligence. Here's how it works. If you ask Siri something simple, like to set a timer, send a message, or play a song, it handles everything locally, right on your device. No need for internet, no need for cloud servers. Your data never leaves the building. That's the on-device part. But suppose you ask Siri to summarize a legal document, write a bedtime story in a cowboy voice, or explain quantum mechanics using Taylor Swift lyrics? Well, in that case, that's when the big guns get called in. Siri will route your request to ChatGPT or Claude using a cloud connection. But, and this is crucial, it's not just any cloud. Apple uses something it calls private cloud compute. Think of it like a secure vault in the sky. When a complex request is sent off device, it's handled in a specially isolated part of Apple's cloud infrastructure, with no permanent storage and no third-party tracking. Apple doesn't build a user profile. It doesn't keep transcripts. And it doesn't even know what you asked minutes ago. It's intelligence on your terms. Local when possible, private when it's not. You get the power of models like GPT-4 and Claude 3 but wrapped in the privacy-first philosophy Apple's been selling for years. This is intelligence, the Apple way. Smart, private, elegant, and just paranoid enough to be comforting. Why Apple partnered? Let's be clear. Apple could have built its own model. It has the money. It has the talent. It has an M-series chip in basically everything short of your toaster. So why didn't it? Because building a frontier large language model from scratch is expensive, slow, and high stakes. Training something on the scale of GPT-4 or Claude 3 costs billions. It takes years. And the return on that investment? Not guaranteed. So Apple took the smarter route, partner with the best, customize the rest. Enter OpenAI and Anthropic. OpenAI brings the conversational firepower. It's what handles natural dialogue, quick summarization, content generation, the stuff that makes Siri feel less like a voice assistant and more like a collaborator. Claude, on the other hand, is being positioned for future integrations, especially around safety, factual accuracy, and enterprise use cases. Anthropic's constitutional AI model aligns well with Apple's cautious, user-first ethos. Together, they give Apple instant access to world-class models, flexibility to tailor the experience, the ability to control the UX end-to-end, and critically, a modular setup where users opt in per request. Apple doesn't have to own the model to own the experience. And by integrating selectively, rather than going all in, they keep their options open as the intelligence landscape evolves. This isn't about catching up. It's about plugging in, scaling up, and doing it all without breaking the Apple ecosystem's golden rule. Control everything the user sees, touches, and trusts. New superpowers and what's coming next. Thanks to its shiny new intelligence brain, Siri has officially leveled up. With deep integrations from ChatGPT and soon Claude, Siri can now handle way more than just setting alarms or telling you the weather. It can answer general knowledge questions using ChatGPT's massive training data, rewrite your texts or emails in different tones. Need to sound more professional or less passive-aggressive? Done. And not to mention generate clear, concise summaries of long articles, docs, or even that 40-message group chat you've been ignoring. Planning a trip? Need a packing list? Want creative dinner ideas based on what's left in your fridge? Siri's got you. What makes all this work is that Siri doesn't just pull answers from thin air. It can intelligently use your calendar, location, contacts, and other on-device context to personalize responses without sending that private info to the cloud. And this is just the beginning. Soon, you'll be able to choose which artificial intelligence you want powering Siri. You'll start seeing live citations and sources in intelligence-generated answers so you can check the facts yourself. And multi-step task automation via voice is coming. Imagine saying, plan my weekend, and getting a full itinerary, restaurant bookings, and weather-packed outfits ready. Siri isn't just an assistant anymore. It's becoming your intelligent gateway. Transformation from hardware giant to AI platform. Apple has always been known for its hardware, the sleek aluminum, the glass, the precision. iPhones, MacBooks, iPads, and AirPods. It's a premium ecosystem of beautiful rectangles. But with Apple Intelligence, something bigger is happening. Apple's no longer just building devices. It's building an intelligence platform. This is a shift in identity. We're now seeing Apple create a full intelligence experience layer woven seamlessly into its operating systems, apps, and services. It's not about launching a chatbot app or sticking a badge on the home screen. It's about reimagining how people interact with technology everywhere. That means AI-native workflows that feel intuitive and effortless. Smarter search across files, messages, and media, context-aware generation tailored to you, and assistive automation that adapts to your habits, not the other way around. At the center of all this, Siri. Siri becomes the interface, the glue binding together Apple's ambitions. Whether you're using an iPhone, a MacBook, a HomePod, or even a Vision Pro headset, Siri acts as the gateway to personalized intelligence. And here's the twist. Apple's not trying to beat ChatGPT. It's partnering with it, building on top of it, wrapping it in Apple-grade privacy, polish, and UX control. The Claude factor. OpenAI might be the flashiest name in the room, but Apple's playing a smarter, longer game. Enter Claude, the model developed by Anthropic. Quietly powerful, safety-focused, and built with a whole different philosophy than its more headline-grabbing peers. Apple didn't just stop at ChatGPT. They signed a deal with Anthropic too. And that move says a lot. Claude isn't here to replace Siri or compete with ChatGPT directly. It's here to complement them. Known for its longer memory, safer outputs, and deep document comprehension, Claude excels at tasks that require nuance, care, and context over time. Think summarizing legal agreements, navigating textbook content, and interacting with enterprise-grade documentation without heavy hallucinating. In the not-too-distant future, Claude may be the assistant you reach for when things get technical, structured, or sensitive. It's especially promising for education, healthcare, enterprise, or government users, where privacy, reliability, and a gentler tone really matter. It's also a smart geopolitical hedge. Claude gives Apple flexibility to operate in regions where OpenAI's footprint is limited or where tighter data regulations demand a more cautious model. And strategically, this dual integration positions Apple as AI neutral, not locked into any single model, company, or ideology. They're not just picking a winner. They're building a platform where you choose who wins. Smart and very Apple. Strategic leap ahead. Apple just made a massive move in the race, and it didn't try to outrun the competition. It outmaneuvered them. With Apple Intelligence, the company has suddenly caught up to conversational leaders like Google and Microsoft, not by building a bigger model, but by embedding world-class ones, ChatGPT and Claude, into its ecosystem of over 1.5 billion active devices. That's one of the biggest distribution networks on the planet, overnight. And here's the twist. Apple isn't fighting the model war. It's skipping it entirely. While OpenAI, Google DeepMind, and Anthropic race to outdo each other with bigger, faster, smarter models, Apple quietly asked a different question. What does the user actually experience? The result? A new UX standard, one where powerful models are invisible, intuitive, and just there when you need them. In your messages, your documents, your voice commands, no separate app, no login, just seamless assistance. This isn't about having the smartest intelligence, it's about being the most helpful one, the most trusted, the most usable, the most you don't even have to think about it one. Apple didn't build a better brain, it built a better body for the brain to live in. The future is modular. Beneath all the flashy demos and Siri glow-ups, Apple's latest announcement quietly pointed to something much bigger. The age of modular AI is coming, and fast. Until now, AI has felt like an all-or-nothing experience. You picked a model and stuck with it. One size, one brain, one personality. But with Apple Intelligence, we're seeing the early blueprint for something more flexible, more personal, and way more powerful. Modularity means choice, and it means control. You'll soon be able to select your preferred AI provider, route different kinds of requests to different models, creative to ChatGPT, technical to Claude. Set boundaries on when intelligence tools can access your data, and customize how your assistant sounds, thinks, and even feels, all without sacrificing privacy. Because Apple's still keeping that line in the sand, local first, cloud when needed, and user in charge. This vision doesn't treat the tech as a single monolithic intelligence. It treats it like a toolkit, something modular, swappable, upgradable, just like apps, just like widgets, just like the rest of your Apple experience. And Apple, it's perfectly positioned to own the most important part of that modular future, the interface, the part you see, the part you trust, the part that makes all the magic feel simple. The privacy question. What about privacy? That's the first question on everyone's mind when you hear artificial intelligence in 2025. And to Apple, it's not just a checkbox, it's the brand. Apple knows that in a world of facial recognition billboards, data-hungry apps, and intelligence tools that remember way too much, trust is the most valuable product it can sell. So with Apple Intelligence, privacy isn't an afterthought, it's the foundation. Here's what that looks like in practice. As much processing as possible is done on-device, thanks to the latest Apple Silicon chips, which are now powerful enough to run smaller large language models locally. When something has to go to the cloud, it's routed through private cloud compute, where data is encrypted in transit, never stored, and never seen by Apple or third parties. Prompts aren't logged, responses aren't saved. Apple doesn't build a shadow profile behind the scenes. And integrations with ChatGPT and Claude, they're opt-in, with visible disclosures per request, so you always know what's happening. In a landscape where most companies want more of your data to improve their tools, Apple's betting on a different path. Private AI, just as powerful, but far less creepy. And if the past decade of tech backlash taught us anything, it's this. That might be the smartest bet of all. Siri's future, across all Apple devices. Apple Intelligence isn't some one-off Siri upgrade, it's the start of something much bigger. Beginning with iOS 18 and macOS Sequoia, Apple is laying the foundation for a future, where intelligence is tightly woven into everything you do, on every device you use. It's not just smarter, it's smoother, more personal, and deeply Apple. Here's what's coming right out of the gate. A full Siri redesign with a more natural voice, better context memory, and smarter prompts? AI-powered writing tools built into Mail, Notes, Safari, and beyond. ChatGPT integration, free for all users, no OpenAI account required. Claude options for business, enterprise, and education users through managed device tiers. Live image generation and editing using only your voice. Make this more vibrant, add a sunset, turn this into a sketch. And yes, Vision Pro gets it too, with a floating spatial Siri that acts like your own holographic creative assistant. And that's just version 1. Future updates are already in the pipeline, promising multimodal intelligence that understands voice, visuals, gestures, and intent. Real-time memory, so Siri can follow up and refine without repeating. Task chaining for multi-step automation such as plan trip, book hotel, or draft email. And developer tools like Xcode plus Swift Assist, enhanced by intelligence copilots. This isn't a Siri upgrade. It's Apple stepping fully into the era with its own rules, its own polish, and its own vision. Siri isn't just getting smarter. She's getting augmented with the best brains on the planet. With OpenAI and Anthropic behind the scenes, with Apple's UX and privacy in front, we're entering a new phase of digital assistance. Seamless, private, modular, and contextual. If you enjoy getting smarter, like this video, and subscribe for more deep dives where big tech meets big intelligence. Tell us in the comments, is Apple's approach better than Google's and Microsoft's, or are they just playing catch-up? Thanks for watching. Stay blessed and stay curious.